Alright, hello everyone, MeanSpeed here. Today doing quite a big Renegade Line discussion video. The first one I did of these was last year with Jeps and Cerberus, now called Mako. But yeah, Jeps isn't with us today, but we have two more guests. So first of all we have Mako.
Hello.
We have Goldy.
Yo.
And we have Barney.
Yo!
Right, so basically, if you've been following Renegade Line in any way at all, you would already know this, but basically the Kickstarter released quite a while ago, so we're basically going to be doing a video on the Kickstarter, giving our thoughts on many different things that were revealed. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be quite an interesting video for you, and it'll definitely be quite a long one. So yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to point out is the fact that the Kickstarter right now, since I last checked it, it was at 70% completed, or you know, towards the goal.
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah. So, and that's pretty crazy because I believe it only it reached like halfway a couple of days ago. So that's a massive increase. But there is a reason why it's at 70% now.
That's the two 6,500 people. Without them, we're at 22K, I think. Yeah. So
yeah, something like that.
It's quite a big difference.
Because right now we're at 35,000. Two people have donated 6,500. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's legit? Do you think it's, you know?
I doubt that they are both legit. I think maybe one of them is legit, one isn't.
Yeah.
I don't have a reasoning why, but I just feel that one is a troll.
I don't think, like, even assuming that both are legit, I still think people are really overestimating how safe this Kickstarter is going to be.
Right.
Because the vast majority of people who plan on donating and can donate to PayPal probably already have donated.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people who haven't donated, which are probably quite a few, they're going to go through the secondary donation page probably because they don't have a PayPal. So
a credit card, you mean?
The thing is that that wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for the fact that that money doesn't go to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Because I think that they would probably make it, you know, just on that money, even without those two pledges.
Right.
I think they could make it with that. But apparently, what I saw in the forums like earlier today was iSquares mentioned that they have Google Ads, but apparently, like, if you're already interested in the game, you aren't seeing them, so it's like working right. And they said they sent emails to like big YouTubers to cover the game. So good.
That's perfect.
Well, another thing they did, I'm not sure if this was based on someone's idea on the forums, but what they did was they sent an email to every single account that was registered. So basically, assuming, you know, people that made the account actually check that email and it's not like a random one they made just for a Renegade Line account, that's actually pretty good because it means it can remind people that the game's still a thing, you know. I've seen many people, I was looking back at my old forum posts from like last October, there are so many names that I haven't seen in ages, and it's like, did they just join initially for the big hype and have they just gone now? And do they still not know about this Kickstarter and all this? So yeah, I'm glad the emails were sent out. That's another good thing. Yeah.
Pretty logical, but pretty good thing to do. It would be dumb if you didn't. That's how I would call it.
Yeah, because there's over 25,000 people registered.
Exactly.
That's quite a big amount, to be honest with you. So, especially without like massive advertising.
There's some double accounts because I have two accounts. Actually, no, I have two. I had 3 or 4 on the Heroes, but when I used to troll the fan base, but I didn't have that one in Renegade Line. No.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. No, not really. So, I mean, you said the Kickstarter. Obviously, the thing is with Kickstarter, because I was questioning this about a week ago. You know, the whole thing of, if we get 40k on Kickstarter, can we add up a possible 10k from the secondary, and will it work? Well, it doesn't, because Kickstarter, the way it works, the whole goal has to be reached. Otherwise, no money goes to it. So basically, the secondary is just for a little bit of additional funding to the goal, assuming it's going to be met, for the people that can't actually use a credit card. But also there's an incentive because I know that I don't know what they're going to be, but the secondary one, it'll have special rewards to it as well. But I mean, if you look on the Kickstarter, some of it will say exclusive Kickstarter stuff. I think the weapon skins, it says Kickstarter weapon skins. So I'm pretty sure that one is just for Kickstarter, but then there's other stuff as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the secondary thing. I mean, obviously the alpha key is the main thing that's going to be on both of them. But yeah, I mean, obviously we need to hit the 50,000. So yeah, I'm curious if I can see if Jeps has had anything to say about that, because he did send in questions for us. Do you want me to go through his questions right now?
Yeah, sure.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so basically he some of you might know this. He did his own video. It was like 40 minutes long, so no offense to him, but I didn't watch the whole thing. Basically, he sent me some questions that he thought we could, use. So the first one he says is, do we think they'll add more talents or abilities in the future? So over a year from now for all of the classes. He says, I hope they will. It'll switch things up in the meta and it'd be fun to experiment with new abilities. The same ones might get boring after many months of playing. What do you think?
I think that depends on how they intend on balancing the talents. I don't think it's very likely, but if they build or like balance the talents in like a more traditional RPG way, where you have to make like a choice in like a skill tree instead of just you upgrade it and it just becomes borderline better.
Yeah.
I think if they don't do that, they might actually introduce some new abilities, talents, but I think it would be better if you, for example, you could only have so many talents active at a time, but you have more per class to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also think it would be really hard to balance that.
Yeah, I think there will be some new abilities, but that's going to be due to some abilities they have right now, which won't be compatible with the class. That it doesn't fit the class. For example, the spotter is kind of the healing class. It's the support class.
Yeah.
But they've also stated you can build the spotter offensively. And if that seems a little bit too overpowered, they might just want to totally erase all of the offensive abilities and introduce more supporting abilities for the spotter. So maybe in that kind of way they will add some new abilities, but other than that, I don't think so.
Yeah, reworks I think are something they'll definitely do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally would not like to see new abilities later once like the game's all finalized and whatnot. Just balancing the abilities currently would be a better option in my opinion.
All right. So I'll give you my answer because I wrote it down. But yeah, basically I would like to see a few more in the future because it would switch things up in the meta. But yeah, basically like you said, they'd have to be balanced. They'd have to work well in that environment. But yeah, I mean, they'd have to think about stuff that was already in the game, how it's going to interact with stuff that's already in the game. There'd be a lot of, they'd have to do a lot of thinking about it. But I mean, I'd like to see some that aren't that serious, that could maybe be used in like an unranked game mode or an unranked server, just to mess around with, just like so you could jump really high or something like that. Yeah, I'd like to see some just to make it more fun, but obviously not for competitive, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, they'd need to think about it a lot. So yeah, I mean, one thing I've thought about, because I've seen this in another game, basically like alternate versions of the abilities we've already got. So maybe it could work like the tank's adrenaline ability, like Leggett basically, could have an alternate version of it, where at the moment he actually just puts down a field and everyone gets a speed boost if they walk on it. But maybe there could be an alternate version where basically it's not a field, basically it's like an instant speed boost for everyone close to him. So exactly like Leggett, but with drawbacks. So it would be slower than the normal adrenaline, or it wouldn't last as long to balance it. Something like that. I mean, that's less time consuming. They don't have to think that much with it. Well, not as much. And obviously they're just modifying abilities they've already got. They're not actually making new concepts. So
basically reworking.
Yeah, basically.
I would prefer reworking over adding new abilities as well, or implementing a skill tree, like I said earlier.
Right.
Yeah, one thing I got from your comment, MeanSpeed, is that maybe it's an idea from every talent they have, you can have 3 versions. So, for example, the spotter has the medic ability.
Yep.
We can see it like the one in BFH. We can see it as healing over time.
Yeah.
I'm just calling out things, or we can see it as just an instant heal only for yourself, or whatever. I'm just calling out some things, but that for every ability. So that means you have 6 abilities.
Yeah.
And three different sort of abilities for every talent.
Right.
So that means you can build your character on a different way every time. So you have like 18 different sort of builds, and you know that also changes up a bit the playstyle and more variety and whatever.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say? I mean, on that, I mean, we can go back to abilities later because we were going to go over like all of the well, not all of them. We can if you want, but a lot of the stuff that they showed. But I guess this is sort of off topic in a way. Do you want to talk about the Kickstarter rewards themselves and the donations, like the pricing?
Sure.
So the first one is pretty basic. It's just a Kickstarter forum tag. Obviously, the most popular one has got almost 400 people backing it, which is the alpha key for €10. Yeah, that's almost half of the overall people. But what do you think about the higher ones, the higher money rewards?
The weird thing about them is like some of the skins I think that they mentioned are let me see actually, because they say like, oh, it's exclusive, but the thing is that it kind of loses its exclusivity if it's like it's just one like skin pack. It's, I don't know, it's something about it that I read somewhere in one of the rewards was really off-putting for me, but I can't seem to find it right now. It's
was it maybe the design your own weapon?
No, it was somewhere in the middle.
Well, there's a lot of packs and bundles and stuff.
Otherwise, I would say I do like the rewards. I think they're fine for the most part. Right. Oh, it's really stupid, but it's like it's the word rare, right? Because that's a thing that this is completely off topic. We could talk about it later, but the loot boxes and stuff have been confirmed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the thing with like rare stuff is like it's only rare if it's RNG. But if it's RNG, I also don't like it. So I don't like rare stuff in multiplayer games. Because, like, it's not rare just because you paid a lot of money for it. It's just expensive.
Yeah. I guess exclusive would make more sense. Slightly better word to use.
It's really pedantic, but it's just something I noticed that you know, it's just something. It's got to do with the industry in the moment. Like, you hear this stuff so much, and it's been tiring me out. So I think it's just that it's not a big deal, but you know.
Okay. Anyone else thoughts on some of the high rewards, high tiers and stuff? Do you think they're tempting enough for some people?
I think maybe not. I don't know.
Well,
one thing, it's not a higher reward. It's €80.
Yeah.
The servers.
Oh, that one sold out quickly.
I think they could have priced it a little bit higher and put like 5 or 10 more of those.
Yeah.
They could have really gathered some money out of that reward, since a lot of people want their server.
Definitely, yeah. That one was. I mean, obviously they have to think about how many they want to have available to people at the start, because that's, you know, money off of them as well. But yeah, definitely.
That's why I think the price should be higher.
Yeah, definitely the price. I mean, if it's too costly for them to say, right, we can have even more people to get a server straight away, then it would have made more sense to just make it a higher amount. Because that one is just something that clearly interested a lot of people. So yeah. Let's see what else is there. There's really crazy ones like stuff like designing your own outfit. and then
design an official map.
Yeah.
Plus Easter egg.
Yeah. So I mean, the outfit one. I mean, obviously, the whole premise of this is you can just tell them whatever you want. Obviously, it wouldn't. Well, I'm hoping it wouldn't be stuff that's against the forum rules, just any rules in general. But
right, I don't think that, they wouldn't do anything offensive.
Yeah.
I think it's like you can suggest anything, but it should be something reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think if you're asking for a Hitler suit, I don't think they will make it for you.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think they would let you dress up as actual Nazis. I mean, the Wickeds, maybe even the Resident, they could definitely have, military-style suits. And I do think that the Nazis had very nice suits, generally speaking. But they shouldn't include Nazi symbolism. That's not gonna work very well, I think.
No.
But yeah, I mean, some of these, it's kind of like. I mean, the whole design your own stuff, I mean, most of it is stuff that... I think that would appeal to some people, because if you could design your own outfit, I'm guessing a few people might want to do stuff like outfits they had in Battlefield Heroes, maybe.
Yeah.
And then basically, the other option is you can just say, right, you guys can't release this to anyone else. This will be exclusive to me. That's why I pledge that amount and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that might be quite tempting for some people. I mean, I mean, if I had the money, I would do that. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's tempting, but I'm really surprised that no one has really pledged the amount of the limited things only for the 6,500. The other limited things are 0 out of 5 or 0 out of 10 backers yet. So that's really
that's
surprising.
probably because the 6,500. It adds a lot of. I mean, you get all the cosmetics in the game for free, and you get an exclusive diamond weapon skin for all the weapons. You can list as a producer. Some of these perks, I mean, you never have to pay for cosmetics.
Yeah, I think. Are they going to give the new weapons and cosmetics as well, or only the one exclusive to the Kickstarter, or when the game comes out? I think
they're
everything.
I think everything as well, because there's only 5 spots. They don't really care if 5 people just get it for free.
Yeah, since
especially if the game ends up being successful, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, that 6,500 will help a lot to make the game successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to think, like, if someone was genuinely thinking about pledging that amount, just for the whole thing about you get all the items that are ever going to be included for free, you got to think, like, are you actually, like, going to spend... How much would you have spent in the long term anyway? Are you a completionist? Would you want everything? How much did you spend in Battlefield Heroes and all of that? I mean, everything ever is pretty massive. Obviously, I guess that includes, like... really rare items from drops as well that you wouldn't have to gamble to get, so that might be quite interesting.
It does say all cosmetics, so it should, I think.
Yeah.
But any more thoughts on that, or we can move on to something else?
Well, I think the rewards are generally fine.
Yeah.
I don't think some would appeal to many people, but that's fine. I mean, they have a lot of choices.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's.
I think for me personally, it would just be the €10 donation, because I think that's fine for me. I don't really want to donate money for skins that I don't know what they're gonna look like or what they're gonna be like. Because, right.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they haven't really done a massive preview of what everything's going to be, what your money's like, what the rewards are. If you scroll down,
I personally,
vague.
I personally don't really care about cosmetics that much anymore in games. So it's like, sure, I'm getting €10 worth of those vengeance points, right?
So that's fucking worth.
So sure, I'll spend that on something, but I don't know. Only if I really like the game and there's some really cool sets that come out, I'll buy them. But I won't buy cosmetics very often because I generally don't really care about them anymore. I used to a lot, but recently I don't know. I don't really care.
I mean, some of the weapon skins you can see them, but it's like a lot of the stuff you can get where it's placed is really awkward. You have to scroll all the way down, and you can't even see everything from what you're being offered. So, yeah, that might turn a few people off. They might not want to pledge a certain amount if they can't see like exactly everything to it. So, yeah, I think maybe that sort of presentation could be a bit better, more in depth and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the map, the thing is that you can't make a huge, you can explain to people in like that little box what the engine can and cannot handle. But the thing is, like, I think maybe in the Kickstarter itself they should have made clear, like, because anyone who's gonna donate a lot of money is gonna read this entire thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But the thing is, I think they should have kind of talked about what the maps are going to be like, because obviously, like they said, if the budget is higher, we'll include more dynamic things like animals and stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't know what can this engine handle. I mean, it's not Frostbite. I think it's like Unreal 4.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which is, it's not a bad engine, but it cannot handle Frostbite, tier destruction, or anything like that. So, I think people who do want to design a map, really, I think there should be a little bit more information for them, perhaps, or for people who are seriously considering doing that.
Another thing is that, a few of the things, like the whole design your own weapon skin, design your own map, I mean, obviously there's stuff that you get from the lower stuff as well as high, pledging higher, but design your own weapon skin. I mean, some people already got their weapon skins in the game for free. I mean, just people who did stuff on the forums. And they said there's going to be a map editor as well, so people will obviously get maps of their own possibly put into the game as well. So,
yeah,
I don't know if those...
If they're good.
Yeah, I don't know if those are actually good enough, considering those features are available, like the fact that developers might pick your weapon skins if you post them and they like them.
Yeah, but then you have to have talent. I think right here you can just give your idea and the developers will make it for you.
Oh, definitely. I don't think it's going to be like you have to design it. You just give them an idea and they work with you. And
I know, and that's the upside of it. And if you post your own skins, you have to have talent. If you don't, then you're fucked.
That is true.
And especially since right, because not everybody is a map designer. I mean, if you're a map designer, you donate to this, you probably know a little bit more about what is good and balanced and fun map design. But I do think, they definitely should have guidelines and help the people that are designing things, like, what is a good design philosophy for this outfit or weapon?
Yeah.
Does it make sense in the lore? Not that, I'm against, more modern weaponry, even science fiction. I think it should just be executed well.
Yeah.
It shouldn't really, because I think a lot of people, they didn't like some of the Battlefield Heroes sets, but I think they just didn't like them because they perhaps weren't that good. Because there were a lot of sets in Battlefield Heroes that were sci-fi that I just think weren't that good. Besides, it's weapons like the laser that a lot of people didn't like, understandably. I think that kind of soured the mouths of some people thinking, everything sci-fi is just bad.
It did, definitely. That's the thing. That was specifically like the machine gun is what made people hate on sci-fi in general in that game. So, yeah. Anyway, anyone else got stuff? Or we can move on to maybe some of the information that they put on the page as well. Not just the...
Yeah, let's move on to that.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right, so basically, I mean, I didn't know this beforehand, but I'm assuming this is new information. Basically, they said that you can get to level 30, which is sort of like the max level for getting all of the talents, because they work, it's like a point system, like in Battlefield Heroes, basically. You level up, you get the points to add to your abilities. And then essentially, I guess the other 70 levels are just for like bragging rights, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't get anything special. Maybe like if you hit level 100, there might be a special hat that you get or whatever. But
25, 50.
Yeah, maybe those milestones.
they have said that it would not only be bragging rights. They said they would encourage you to level your character to 100 to make it worth leveling it to 100.
Right.
So
They probably have
I think there will be rewards.
Okay.
There might be something like loot boxes, like you have in Overwatch, but obviously on Overwatch you have an insanely high max level because it just keeps on going.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll do exactly that, just a loot box every level. But I do think they might do something similar, right? So a reward every level or every few levels.
Some sort of head like I reach level 100 or a medal or something small to show it off. Also bragging rights, but still, you can see it to your character. So
yeah, maybe even like emotes and stuff.
Yeah. For example, that's a good one. Like a celebration emote or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I'm cool. I got. I have no life. I just play video games all day. Look, guys, I just play video games. Isn't that cool? Aren't you jealous?
No, it should just be that text on a shirt or something.
Yeah.
So
I just play video games. Aren't you jealous?
Yeah.
Of me?
Exactly.
I mean, we already know that they said it would take a very long time to get to the max level anyway. So
which is fine. I
yeah.
guess.
So that sort of, I don't know. I mean, that sort of makes sense. You were saying how Overwatch it keeps going, but I mean, in Renegade Line, they said it would take a huge amount of time to get to the max level anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, the thing is that in Overwatch, after you've reached like a certain level, I think it's like 25. I think you just always have to gain 22k XP for a level up.
Yeah,
and I think they reset the stars, right? Because when you reach level 100, you reset, and it just goes back to like the lowest XP you would get.
No, they fixed that.
Yeah, because people would use that to farm for holiday items. Yeah, for holiday loot boxes. Because those are limited, right? And you can just level up really quickly that way. So
yeah. So anyway, they said like the significance of level 30 it isn't just the fact that you get all the ability points, but it also means you can go to competitive. So
yeah,
I mean, it's good that you have to play a certain amount of time to actually be able to do competitive. It gives people a little bit more. You're going to get I mean, you're still going to get people who mess around and don't play it properly or don't know what they're doing, but there's a higher chance, that saying you have to be this level, there's people with more experience than just having it open to anyone at the start of the game when they play it for the first time.
Yeah, so basically what I think of this, it's very good to prevent smurfs, since you have to, if I remember correctly, they said it takes up to 50 to 100 hours to go to level 30. So that's quite a lot of hours, if I remember correctly. But also, it's just a shooter. You have to shoot, and you have to remember your 6 abilities to kind of dig out 50 to 100 hours of your life just to play competitive for those 6 abilities and your aim. That's kind of much as well.
Yeah.
I think that would be too much though. Like 50 hours is pretty long, actually.
Yeah.
And not everybody has the time to play that long as well. So I think it shouldn't be too low. It shouldn't be like 5 hours. I don't know. I think it was Overwatch. It took me like, I don't know, like 15 hours maybe to unlock competitive. And to be fair, I've never met like a Smurf in competitive, I don't think. Maybe it's because generally my rank is somewhere in the middle, so I tend to be lower ranks on games like Counter-Strike. So
also you have to pay. You have to pay to play the game as well.
Yeah,
you have to pay for another 40 euros to Smurf. Yeah. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a full price game.
Yeah. So also, in Alpha, I'm not really afraid of Smurfs and hackers. Since
I do think though that I think they're kind of pushing this competitive too hard. Like we should make sure the base game at least works.
Yes.
Before you try anything new in the game, right? Because I mean, you have like cases like TF2 where the game didn't have competitive for years, and now it has competitive, and it just fucking sucks, and nobody plays it. That's just a bad example, right? Those happen. But with Overwatch, they didn't release it, and the first season sucked. So I hope they're applying seasons here as well. So if the first season sucks, they can just change it later and be like, look, it's okay now. But I think they should first have the like basically
casual.
quick play or casual, for a few months and then maybe introduce a first season if they've kind of worked out like, okay, what's well balanced, what needs nerfing, what needs buffing. And I think it's also very important that the netcode should be very good by the time that there's the competitive mode is being added.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think they just should focus on the core game first. That it's really fun to play.
Yeah.
For example, I really like the game League of Legends, the casual. I just like to play a game. But for example, Counter Strike, I never play
Casual's
casual.
really
I always
boring
play
on that game,
competitive. Yeah, casual is really boring, and that's a problem. I think the casual should be really fun to play, and just competitive to
I
test.
think the problem with Counter Strike is that the difference in all the casual modes and competitive are really big, because even like casual in Counter Strike still has double the players, which is far more chaotic. It doesn't have people playing seriously at all. Whereas in Overwatch, it's essentially the same mode, just you play 2 rounds instead of 1. And I think that's, so people are, I think they should do that here as well. So it's competitive is basically the same as casual, but maybe just longer. So people are already familiar with the maps, the abilities, the team sizes, uh, team builds and ability builds that are suitable for, and the weapons that are suitable for these kind of situations.
I honestly
that
think
you'll encounter in competitive.
It should be the same as casual. For example, League of Legends really executed well. Rocket League also. It's just the same as casual, but just a whole game instead of joining halfway. As simple as that.
Right. Well, what we're talking about, it fits into a question that Jeps asked actually. So he sent me this one as well. It says, what do we think about the competitive mode? Will it be popular, or will it be something that only a minority of people actually play and are interested in? And then he says also thoughts on how the ranked season will work. So do you think that there'll be like a massive divide in the community, or do you think there'll be like loads of people that like competitive way more than people that like the casual stuff? I mean, we got to remember a lot of people are going from Battlefield Heroes. That was a very casual game. A friend of mine, he actually referred to it as the candy land of shooters, which I would agree with. But yeah, I mean, do you think that many people are going to be interested in the competitive scene now?
I think they are. If executed well, there will be a lot of people playing competitive. So let's be honest. A lot of people played the casual game Battlefield Heroes competitively. They literally rate you if you were bad or whatever. They did. Don't deny it.
No,
There were a lot of people who played to be good in the game.
Right.
So
The thing is also that a lot of people who did play Battlefield Heroes, when Battlefield Heroes closed, or they were just done with it, they moved on to really competitive games like Counter-Strike.
That is a point, actually.
Especially Counter-Strike. A lot of people who used to play Battlefield Heroes now play
Counter-Strike. No, that's true. I actually completely forgot about that.
I think that a lot of people who were into BFH do really want, or Dirty Bomb. A lot of them play Dirty Bomb as well, and Overwatch, of course. So I do think a lot of people who were into Battlefield Heroes, who were actively following Renegade Line, I think they are definitely interested in the competitive mode.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do think that the popularity of the competitive mode will definitely depend on how many players there are, because if the game is not that popular and only reaches like maybe 2,000 players at peak hours, I think a lot of people are just going to play casual because it's easier. It's always easier to find a game that way, because you can just leave in the middle and join in the middle and that kind of stuff, and it doesn't matter if you do bad or good. And I think it also will depend on how similar competitive and casual are. And also if casual, like if the casual mode is just bad, like in Counter-Strike, but the competitive is really good, nobody's going to be playing casual or just playing it to train their aim, which I don't think they'll do as excessively, because I think something like your accuracy is much more important in Counter-Strike than it's probably going to be in Renegade Line.
Yeah, for sure. Also, one thing I want to mention more, why competitive is going to be popular in my opinion, is in Battlefield Heroes, the casual game, were already a lot of clan wars.
Yeah.
People were searching the best way to play Battlefield Heroes. In a competitive way, as a team. So I heard Raw Vengeance is trying to create the talents in such a way that you have to work together as a team to be very successful. So those two fit together really well. The thing which was in Battlefield Heroes with the clan scene, and how Revengeance wants to implement it into the game. So, and also that's why they want the clan scene to be really big and competitive. So that's also one thing why I think competitive will be very popular.
Okay. What about you, Goldy? Do you think?
I think it depends. I think it depends a lot on just how the game is developed, really. If the competitive mode is fun and fair and balanced and that sort of thing, then sure, people will be attracted to it. But if not, if there are major problems with it, then obviously,
sudden death, it's not.
Yeah, that sort of thing. It really depends on how it's designed, really.
Yeah. All right. Okay. What else? I could just keep going with Jeps' questions for now if you want, and then we can move on to more stuff that they had on the page. This is actually something that they had in their future plans. They're talking about more fun game modes and stuff. So from memory, there was stuff like car races, 1v1s, hide and seek, stuff like that. He just basically wants to know what we think about them.
I don't think they're gonna last, some of them, especially like the really specific ones, unless they make stuff like driving really good and really fun.
Yeah.
I don't think something like racing is gonna do very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that I think they really shouldn't focus on having too many game modes, and instead focus on making like 2 or 3 game modes like Overwatch or Counter-Strike, and really developing those. Because otherwise, if you want to have a competitive scene and have it taken seriously, those other game modes definitely should not be a priority, and you should only focus the game around like 2 or 3 game
A
modes.
few at the moment.
Yeah, a few. You know, like Overwatch did it with the arcade. It's fine to add new game modes later on. Especially, so I really like the new May one, right, where you have to pick up the snowball and you have to hit people with it, and they insta die. But it definitely should not be a priority.
Right.
New game modes do keep the game fresh though.
Yeah. But
if they develop new game modes, and they will, when they develop a new one, they can make it available for like 1 month, and then every weekend or something like that to keep the game fresh and the player base
that's
keep
basically what
returning.
Overwatch did, because with every holiday you had something else.
Yeah, for example, that's a really good thing.
Olympics, you had Lucio Ball, and with Halloween you had Junkenstein's mansion or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a really good marketing.
Now you have the May Snowball Eco Point thing, right? And that's really good. I really like that. It could even like pave the way for like it could even be good concepts for new future game modes. Like I really want a PvE game mode now after Junkenstein's Fortress or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but after that, I really want to have like a permanent PvE game mode to play in Overwatch.
Yeah, I'd like to see something like that in Renegade Line as well. Maybe like another like sort of themed thing, because we know that they want to do events in the future.
Yeah.
So maybe for Halloween they could do like I know this is very cliche, but zombie survival.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, co-op would be really nice.
Yeah, well,
Very fun.
You know, the thing is that this game is kind of like co-op in multiplayer. That's kind of what it aims to be.
Yes.
So having co-op modes, even if it's cliche, that would be fine, because the game is balanced around this co-op. But I do think what would be important, though, is that you rebalance those game modes, because I could imagine some talents that are just fine in multiplayer. They could be really underpowered or overpowered, depending on how the enemy AI works and everything.
Yeah, they could make special talents for the missions they are going to create, so that they kind of fit.
I mean, they could give the AI talents as well to balance it, to make it harder and stuff. So
yeah.
Different game rules in general, just for specific game modes, would be nice.
I mean, the ones that they've listed, a lot of them for the future plans for these game modes, they're not really competitive focused. To me, they just seem like things that you would have had in an unranked server in Battlefield Heroes. But obviously, in Battlefield Heroes, like, the developers didn't do anything for stuff like that to deviate from the normal gameplay. Basically,
they just kind of let you, do your own thing.
Yeah, but they didn't have their own sort of game mode to it. People would just, if you wanted to do a Jeep race, then you do it. If you wanted to do widget wars or whatever, then you do it. But they never had like a specific official thing that said, something like that.
You can't exit cars, and the cars have rockets on them or something ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, definitely it's good for a variety, and a lot of them just seem to be, for fun and stuff. So yeah, just maybe in like an unranked mode or an unranked server or something. But yeah, the other thing that they put in their future plans, and Jeps asked about this as well, something called the Renegade Radio, which is yeah, basically it's like a radio channel where you can hear news about the game, updates, stuff on the clan scene, forum topics, stuff like that. Basically, he's just saying, well, do you think people will care about it? And what do you think about it?
I found it really weird. Like,
really weird. I'd rather just read in a patch notes.
Yeah, because it's like first of all, hosting it 24/7, that's gonna be hard.
I think it will be just a recording, and then they'll play it over and over.
What kind of music do you intend on playing? Do you intend on like having licensed music, or do you have to intend on getting music like from the game?
The thing is,
or like the musicians from the game, right?
They haven't mentioned any music. If I'm going to read it out, a radio channel that will be available in-game for you to listen to news about the game, the clan scene, hot discussed topics on the forums, as well as other interesting stuff about the game. Yeah. So no music.
Right. Well, the thing is that that's entirely possible, but I seriously doubt they would have just news and stuff coming out like 24/7. I think there would be some in-between with music. It's not confirmed, but you never know.
Yeah.
Of course, if that's not the case, then just whatever. You can just ignore everything I said for like the last minute. But if not, like I do wonder if they intend on having music on the radio. What kind of music is this going to be? Is it going to be licensed? Is it going to be all kinds of music? Is it going to be that fits with the theme of the game? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might be good for like returning players if they were away from the game for a long time, and they just because they said it's an in-game feature. You don't have to go on another website for it. So if you came back to the game after a long time, you could just go in game and hear about the newest update. You wouldn't have to bother going through the forums, reading through a lot of stuff. I mean, for some people, it might be better just to listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it might also be quite relaxing for people to just hear stuff in the background while they're playing. Don't know, it might make them play better. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't really, I don't know.
I don't see the added value.
Yeah, I mean,
anything.
Some background music or like an occasional like radio-ish background like news, that'd be fine. But the thing is like making that like an active like feature and like focusing on it. I don't know. You would have to have like a separate team for that. It's definitely very ambitious, and it would definitely help maybe like bring some kind of live to the universe, because it like established the idea that there is a radio and people do shit outside of just fighting, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know how it would work with if it would be worth the effort and really add enough for people.
Yeah,
as well.
I don't think it's a priority, of course. Maybe when they finish all the mechanics, all the animations, they've done everything. There are 5 maps in the game or whatever. Then they could.
They're ranking in millions.
Yeah, ranking in millions, millionaires, billionaires, bigger than EA.
I want to see that
like
happen.
One game.
Just beat the entire sales of Battlefronts and stuff. Just so.
Yeah, in like a week.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. They could hire like some insane people and just like put the game's graphics like up to, I don't know, like Star Wars Battlefront 2.
New animators.
Yeah. I mean, can we talk about the animations for a while?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
because
yeah, go on.
They're probably the worst part of the trailer, honestly. I don't think. I mean, the thing is they have one animator, and I don't want to. I'm not doubting his competence here or something, but just having one animator is not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously
shows,
not finalized, but yeah, the animations are kind of weird.
Lackluster.
Just
Yeah,
weird.
lacking and
I
weird.
mean, yeah, they're better than they used to be, like in the first gameplay video, but they're still not great. And the thing is, like, I don't really like the character designs because Barney, you made a video, I think earlier today or like yesterday, that I watched it like an hour ago, a bit of it, and you were talking about this article, and I read that article, and they made a point about how. Were no women in the game, which is like they already addressed that, but they did. How everyone just has the same figure.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
I
basically.
don't like the figure they have, but I do understand it for balance reasons. But I think it would be cool if maybe they would have like for every class could have like slightly different
Yeah,
figures.
I think
Make the sniper a little thinner. Because that would have it make sense in terms of how much HP they have as well from like a more
Yeah, I think they
logical
want.
standpoint.
I think they want to implement that, but I think due to time constraints, they haven't been able to, since they have to,
Yeah.
do all the cosmetics as well for every body figure and every faction. So I think it will be implemented in the future, but they just didn't have enough time, and they're still a young team. They have to learn, like they just learned the basics probably, and then oh shit, it didn't go the way we wanted to. We have to fix it now. We have to think out of the box to fix this. Oh shit, it takes a shit ton of time, extra, whatever, blah blah blah. Oh shit, we can't reach the alpha date in 2006, and then so on.
They really should have priorities, and I do think that is ultimately important for game balance, like the sizes of the characters and how they contrast to each other. But it's not their biggest priority, not at all. No, especially since they have so many cosmetics, and that's gonna look really weird if you have just like if you don't adjust the sizes and you have just like a floating shirt on somebody.
Yeah.
That'd be really.
I'd rather have this than
Yeah.
unoptimized characters for every class.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying
Like, it's working.
go on.
No, it's working how they have it right now. Of course, it's really hard to distinguish which class which is, and which faction is.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but that's the thing for later.
Yeah, well, I mean, I read this today actually. Basically, the devs were saying that they struggle to work out like who's playing what class and who's the enemy and stuff because of how similar the figures are and stuff. So, I mean, basically, the animations and the modeling. Some of the Kickstarter money is going to go towards that anyway, so we know that things are going to get better if the money gets through. But yeah, I mean, obviously they probably just use the same model just to save time. It's probably less costly as well, so I don't blame them for doing it. I mean, for an alpha anyway.
Yeah, I really do think they should still, have get at least like one or two more animators. Because I feel like even if this animator like makes some great animation, the workload would be immense, honestly, especially since they're going to have taunts.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have it.
It's really important that they do get, if they want to make taunts like a big part of the cosmetics, different weapons as well. You hold certain weapons different ways, so I do think it's important that they get more animators.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have animations for certain talents too. So it's a lot of extra work, the talent animations, different classes and all that. So
yeah, so one of the devs, I think it's iScratch, he told me why they only got a certain amount of people, since they want to deliver quality. So they're looking for people with talent, not people who shit and stuff. And then you have to find someone with talent who wants to work for free in part-time. So that's really hard. So maybe they haven't been able to find a second animator. Maybe if they found someone,
I seriously think. I mean, talked with this about Elliot a few months ago, like maybe even a year ago. But he did mention like, oh, we're not getting paid right now, but when the Kickstarter's around and when we're actually like getting money, receiving money from fans, we're gonna get paid. So by that point, I think they can actively hire for animators.
Yeah.
With talent, who are fine doing this, being paid.
Yeah.
right? And I think at that point the animations, even then, even if like Counter-Strike did it as well, even if the game has been in beta for half a year, they can still improve the animations at that point. Like it's not a big deal if they don't do it now, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it is just a
that's
point
the
that
thing. They can
I
always
think-
improve, and the
yeah.
bottom line is like, as long as the game plays fine, the animations at the moment don't really matter that much.
Yeah, they're an afterthought, please.
Right.
I think it's more important to see who are the enemies and who are which class than
Yeah.
the animations.
And I think that can be kind of boiled down to like the UI and things, and how enemies can be distinguished with like names and whatnot.
Yeah, they could have like a little symbol on top, like oh, this is a medic, a spy.
Yeah, that might be an immediate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know, in Overwatch, it's really obvious what
Right.
class.
Yeah, they have like
it is.
red outlines around the
But
character.
the thing is, like that's also balanced differently, because in Overwatch it's kind of the point that you instantly know everything about somebody as soon as you see them, because they have different shapes, different health, different speed, different abilities. But those abilities, speed and health and everything, always exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, but here it's gonna be. I think you're gonna just have to predict a little bit better. Like, oh, this guy's using this weapons. He's probably using this loadout. You know, in terms of talents and stuff. I think that's gonna be up to the player to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.